taking out time from your busy schedules to join us today on our weekly meeting. These meetings are organized by F25 and La Diaspora Cameroonese as part of our vision to reach out to our broad audiences. So today we are going to be talking about social media fraud, and we have as guest speaker Mr. Nelson Tawe. I would love to call on him to tell us who he is, and then after that, we'll dive into our discussion for today. Mr. Nelson.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to talk to the world. You know, when you are on Zoom, you are actually given a pride of place to talk, to address the whole world. Remember, I'm not addressing a country, so I'm happy to be here. I'm happy. I don't know how many people get on board. I don't know how many people follow us, but I know that this would go worldwide. My name is Nelson Tawe. I hail from Ndu in Donga Mantung Division, and I'm an information technologist. I work with CRTV. CRTV is the Cameroon Radio Television Corporation, and I work in the central services. I am an information technologist, as I said, and I have had the pleasure of providing my services to CRTV for the past 23 years. I have, as an information technologist, technically I have provided technical skills, well, those skills to the CRTV. Administratively, I rose to rank of subdirector in charge of the web portal, and then I was dropped, and then I went to another department in charge of public service, where I last served, and now I am at least an elder in the house. I don't hold any post anymore, but I still work in the house. I'm in retirement. I think that's the little that I can say in terms of, I don't know what else. If there are any questions, maybe you can ask, but I think that I have a wealth of experience in terms of analyzing data on the internet, and especially with social media. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So today on our table, we are going to be talking about social media fraud, and we are going to be using Facebook and WhatsApp as a case study. So what do you have to tell us about that?
Somebody's already sharing screens. I don't know if the anchor would permit me to share screens, because it would be more interesting for me to be able to share my presentation. I actually did a PowerPoint presentation. I have about 23 slides. If you permit, I will share my screen so that we go faster.
Yeah, please do. Please share the screen.
Okay, all right. So let me try to share the screen now. Share screens. That's my screen. I don't know if that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, good. Now, the theme of our presentation today is, of course, it's how to fight against social media fraud. Examples which we're going to use will come from Facebook and WhatsApp. And of course, Nelson Tawe, I'm an information technologist. Now, for an overview, what we need to know about the social media, it's that it's virtual space. That's the overview. Of course, we need to know a bit of the background information. It's a virtual space where people, moral or corporate, that means you may not necessarily be a physical human being. It could be accounts created for corporate reasons. These structures, these users meet to socialize. And as the name goes, social media. So socializing may not always turn out as expected. When you socialize, the main aim is, let me make friends with this or that person. If it turns out not to be that, then you cannot blame whoever is on the other side. So we should always expect either a boomerang when we try to socialize. Everything therefore depends on the state of mind of the parties whom we meet online. For your information, we have about 23 slides, and I'm going to go really fast. I may not read all of this, so that because this would be shared probably at the end of the session, so we can have that. And I also want to suggest that the anchor, please, could take questions while the presentation is going on, so that if they are, because it will be difficult for me to go to the shared the chat page to get questions. So if you collect those questions, I would like to address them immediately. I finish with my presentation.
All right, I'll do just
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so what is online? Online activity therefore entails the use of a specific medium, and this medium is, of course, the internet. This is the medium by which these social media platforms work. In our presentation, we're going to focus on Facebook and WhatsApp, both creations of the group, the software group known as Meta. What we will discuss here may not necessarily apply to other social media platforms. However, there are lots of similarities. Facebook is a platform which runs on the internet, as earlier said, provides relatively easy procedure for the creation of a profile. That is, you take a very short time to create your profile, and this means that you are required to provide personal information. That information includes things like your name, which is the first thing, your date of birth, telephone number, place of residence, pictures, social preferences like education, religion, marital status, sexual tendencies, and so on, in order to become a member of that community. Some or all of this information may be made public, which means that you should be very careful with the information you give out, because once you give out all the information about you, critical information about yourself, you are giving out a lot about yourself. And so this is made public. Remember that you'll be able to share multimedia content. That content could be text, it could be videos, it could be pictures. So basically, this is what Facebook provides so that you can fly on your own. In fact, it gives you the possibility of creating your own small space, which you manage by yourself within the confines and regulations of Facebook. Now, WhatsApp is a little different. For WhatsApp, you need only your active telephone number. It simply requires that you have an active telephone number. You download the application from the appropriate location. For Apple, it's iOS. For Google Play Store, for Android, it is Google Play Store. And of course, we have Windows versions. The platform also allows the user to create and share multimedia content, just like Facebook. Now, when I talk about Facebook, I'm not only talking about Facebook, I'm talking about Messenger, I'm talking about the whole application. Once WhatsApp runs on your device, all you need to do is add friends using their active telephone numbers, of course, and you can go on and add as many friends as you may want. Now, what's the concept of groups? In a bid to widen the scope of the desire to socialize, the concept of groups is introduced and clearly included on these platforms. This means that whenever you use Facebook or WhatsApp, there is a possibility of creating groups of persons with or without similar social tendencies to share multimedia content. Remember, this is very important. The larger the group, the easier it is for one to drive a message on social media platforms. Now, I will focus on the risks, because we have to know the risks so that we can know exactly how to protect ourselves, which is the core of this presentation. If we don't know the risks, then we may not know how important or why we should protect ourselves. Now, when we go on social media platforms, we risk misunderstanding. They can easily arise when people express themselves in text, and are all the more likely to occur when the audience is a group or a general public. Remember the groups we just talked about, than when the writing is being personally tailored to a known individual. When you chat one-on-one, it's easier, but when you address a group, people are likely to have diverse ideas. Public humiliation. Public humiliation is a possible consequence of posting an opinion or joke that jars with the sensibilities of some social groups. People, not everybody may take them lightly, so some others may not want it. So you may humiliate some people. Damage of reputation. It's about the same thing. You damage people's reputations, you damage business reputations when you post on social media. Meeting the wrong people. Very many people still think that it is authentic people you meet. Sorry?
No,
Is there
please
anything?
write. Please
Okay.
write on.
Okay. Many people think
We can't hear you.
on mute. Okay. All right. Is it okay?
It's okay now.
Okay. Good, because it says you muted me. So the host, if you've unmuted me, that's fine. Now I was saying that meeting the wrong virtual persons, usually people think that the people we meet online are serious people, are people who are honest, are people that lots and lots of people have come to understand that they can manipulate, especially with the younger ones, pedophiles. You get pedophiles and things like that get going online. So people, if you are young, if you are not mature enough on social media, you still think that it is everybody else is honest. You may be honest, but not everybody is honest. So you have to be very careful with that. That's a risk of going online. People of high reputation, sometimes ministers, sometimes musicians, sometimes politicians, expose themselves, and this is very dangerous for them. Stalking with a view to confrontation. That is, people want to stalk you, they want to follow you, know exactly what you're doing so that they can actually be able to distort facts about you or follow you and know a lot. So because you are a star, because you are a public figure, you expose yourself when you post certain things on social media. This may not always work well for you, so that's a risk. Marketing backfires. Some structures, some corporate structures like to use social media in order to market their produce. Sometimes it is not all the time that this works. So you may market your product in an unorthodox or in the wrong way, so that your tone does not attract it doesn't have the effect it is supposed to have. That means you turn people off rather than attract them to your product. So this is a risk. You must actually meet somebody or a structure that is specialized in communication to draft content that goes on social media. That's a risk. If you do the wrong thing, it backfires. Obsession. This is interesting because most people want to compete with likes and numbers of online friends and followers and things like this. So you become obsessed because your friend probably has many more friends than you, many more likes than you. They're able to crack better jokes than you. And so you get upset and obsessed, sorry. So in some cases, this may also manifest in behavior of compulsive self-portrait photography for purposes of social media posting. So you make multiple pictures, sometimes you even make the wrong type of pictures and post on your profile just because you want to compete with somebody who has done something like that. So that becomes obsession, which is dangerous. Time wastage is very, very important on social media. If you see the amount of time that people spend on social media, it's alarming. People go to the offices, instead of working, they are on social media doing funny things that are not related to work. People spend lots of time on computer games. Computer games, of course, are social media because they are driven on these platforms. So they spend a lot of time on playing computer games, and lots and lots of hours are spent wasted. In fact, I was going to say that thank God, Facebook has introduced an element, an aspect which does a timing of how long you stay on Facebook itself, and warns you, and you can set the quota. If you want to be on Facebook for 2 hours a day, the moment you start going above it, Facebook sends you a message. So this is to tell you that you've been wasting, or you spent a lot of time on Facebook. Okay. Untrustworthy and misleading content. Like I said, people still think that everybody or everything that goes online is gospel truth. Private bloggers especially, have a way of sending their messages, and sometimes you think it's true. You have to be able to verify that information and make sure that what you see on blogs, what you see on websites which are not trustworthy, which you may not, you may want to verify, those facts are verified. Sometimes the information is sensational, but false or deceptive. So this is made so in order to attract a lot of followers and social media shares. You know that their popularity comes from the number of followers, the number of shares, the number of friends, and so on. You know, all of that counts. And when you land on misleading content like that, it can also be very, very dangerous. It is intellectually important to retain a skeptical mindset towards the factual claims made on websites, just like I said. So this information may not be true. So you must try to verify and re-verify if you think that the information is not correct. Verification entails probably sending email to the structure which has published the piece of information. You could place a phone call, or you could call some other person, a second, a third party, to find out whether this information made available on the internet is on social media platforms is authentic. If it isn't, then there is a problem. Then you have risked yourself the fact that you believed in a publication which doesn't exist. Propagation of extremism. This is very common amongst societies where there is conflict. Excuse me. Everybody wants to drive their idea. The opposition wants to say this. The government in position in power wants to say this. The guy who is for wants to say this. The guy who is against wants to say this. And in the end, there are extremist ideas which come up, and the person who is reading has a tendency of either believing in the wrong thing or believing in the right thing. That is a risk that you must make sure that you make your judgment clearly and believe in what your judgment tells you. Exposure of personal data. This is very common amongst young people again. Some people go online and they put the information, almost complete information, brothers, sisters, bank account numbers, telephone numbers, and all of that. You expose a lot of personal data, and criminals can easily pick on this personal data and get back to you. They get back to you in order to crack your passwords, in order to try to see whether they can get access to your bank account. They carry out dangerous and fraudulent activities using this information which you've made available. So cut down the amount of personal data that you make available on the internet. Burglary. This is an interesting one because sometimes I see my friends who are traveling and they say, I'm flying from Douala to London, you know, and, you know, Facebook does it so nicely. The graphics are so wonderful. They show you an arrow that leaves Douala International Airport to, I don't know which airport in London. And the guy is happy. He says, oh, I'm traveling. Mark you, some of them have homes which are not secured. So if you don't secure your home, this is an opportunity for those who are following you, because remember, excuse me, not everybody who follows you is your friend. Not everybody who follows you for friendly reasons. So what they do is that they use this information and they can attack your home, they can burgle into your home and make away with valuables. So this is a risk that people take when they put that kind of information on their social media profiles. Concentration of power and influence. I realize that with the coming of COVID-19, most offices decided to start using virtual platforms to work. When you use that kind of social media platform to do work, sometimes power is concentrated only amongst a few people and the rest of the team is left out. This is a risk because the people now who are left out become redundant. They don't have anything to do. They don't seem to know where to place themselves. And so that is a risk of using social media in order to run structures, because there's concentration of power and influence only amongst a few persons within a corporate structure. Um, Keeping safe. This is we come to the core of our presentation. I will give this in 10 simple steps, and I don't know, like I said, our presentation will be shared. So you may not want to note that down, you may not want to note them down, but it is important for us to see exactly what the 10 steps are. The 10 simple steps, the first one will be use a strong password. If you use a strong password, you are saved from the possibility of falling victim to those hoodlums online. The longer the password, the more secure it is. The more you use special characters, the better it is. The more you mix uppercase and lowercase letters, the better it is. But remember that you have to be able to remember the password. If you don't remember, you have an opportunity to be able to recover your password. Most social media platforms provide that. It is important for you to use a strong password. That is the takeaway message. 2, use a different password for each social media account. It means that if you have a password for one social media platform, don't use it for another, because it is very likely that if anybody lands on one and has access to the other, they will try the others. So when you diversify, when you use different passwords for the various social media accounts which you have, then the person who lands on it probably has a difficulty cracking the other one. That is a security measure. 3, set up your security answers. I like this. There are some social media platforms which allow you to be able to do a 3-way thing. You know, they tell you, enter your password, or if you try to access your account, they ask you a question or they send a code to your telephone. Once you respond, then they know that you are the right person. Because if your telephone, that's the reason for which they take your telephone number, so they can communicate with you and ensure that you are the one. If you don't respond, it means they cannot give you access to that account. So if you set those security answers, you secure yourself and you keep safe from the hoodlums. 4, if you have social media apps on your phone, be sure to password protect your device. Your device must be password protected. If it is not protected, the moment somebody lands on your device, if in case it gets missing, they have access to all your social media accounts, and they can, I bet you, reach as many people as you have been able to reach using that account or using that device. So it is important to password protect your device. 5, be selective with friend requests. Sometimes people just send requests. You look at the people you don't even know. You try to see whether you have met them, you have common friends with them. Nothing. Do you share similar ideas? Nothing. Is there a professional link between you and the guys? Nothing. Sometimes the pictures that you have do not even look like people you know. They have nothing in common with you. So what you do is select them. Sometimes, in fact, most often, if you get a friend request from somebody or a structure you don't know, turn it down. Look at the number of common friends you have with them. If they are not impressive, don't even accept. Simply turn them down, because once you entertain a conversation with those accounts, then you start exposing yourself. 6, click links with caution. Social media accounts are regularly hacked. Look out for language or content that does not sound like something your friend would post. Very often there is lousy language. There are things that don't resemble the conversations that you regularly hold with your friends. So when you see those links, sometimes they may be taking you to your doom. So be very careful when you click on links. Click with caution. In fact, what I do is that sometimes I hover over the link. I just hover over the link, and then if the link proper pops up, and then you realize that it has nothing to do with the text, which is in the forefront, then you know that that kind of link may be dangerous. 7, be careful with what you share. Oh, this is a nice one. Very many people share lots and lots of pictures, tons and tons of pictures, and well organized. My trip to Kribi, my trip to the US, my trip to this, you know, in the bus doing that and that and that, you know. These pictures do not help you much. Be careful with what you share. If you share content that exposes you, like I said, we earlier said in the risks, when you share content that exposes you, people take advantage of that to reach you and to be able to do even more harm to you. So be careful with what you share. 8, sorry, 8, become familiar with the privacy policies. Most, if not all, social media platforms have the privacy policies. These policies usually are written in very fine text, in very fine little print that makes it difficult for people to read. So what we do is that we just hurry over everything and then we say, okay, I accept, I accept, I accept. They will tell you, read this, you don't read. Be familiar with the privacy policies. They will tell you exactly how to protect yourself. If you are not familiar with those policies, believe me, you are risking exposure. 9, protect your computer by installing an antivirus software to safeguard the computer. Also ensure that your browser, the operating system, and software are kept up to date. Most applications these days are updated online, so you just connect to the internet and update most of your applications. Those that are licensed, of course, you can renew your licenses if they are expired. This is very important for your own security. 10, this is also a nice one. Many people use their computers and shut down maybe they just close the computer instead of logging off. When you log off, you ensure security. You don't know who next will land on your computer, because if they open your computer, it simply goes back to the last pages or the last websites that you logged into. And if the websites are not protected, then they simply reopen your accounts. And if your computer is in the hands of somebody else, this computer becomes, your accounts, your social media accounts become vulnerable. And what most people do is that they get in and immediately change your password and take control of your social media platform. So it's important to log off. Log off means you go to the file, go down to log off and log off, or go to the file menu, look for where log off or log out is. Sometimes it's hidden, sometimes it's very clear, very, very, very visible up there. You log out, and then before you shut down your computer. That way, if somebody else takes your computer, they will have to log in with the username and password each time they try to do so. I think that this is where I come to the end of my little presentation. I might have taken a little more time than I was supposed to, 32. So thank you. And I think that if there are any issues, I would like to take them from the public. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tawe. There are a series of questions, and most of these questions are apparently coming from the same person. I will just read them as he sent. So the first question is, how secure is social media information? How secure is social media information?
Yeah, okay.
Then the next one is, is it a means for the government to spy on individuals? Is it a means for the government to spy on individuals? And then the next one is, how important are computer games? I don't know if he means for children, adults, or I don't know, but he's asking how important are computer games. And then the last one is, are there antiviruses for phones? And then if there are, then what are they?
All right, that was the last one, right?
That was the last one.
Okay, I'll let me just quickly address all his concerns. How secure are social media platforms, right? Yes, I think if you
How
have
information,
sorry.
how secured is information? How secured is social media information? I think that's the question. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I thought that the question was how secure are social media platforms? How secure is information? It will depend on what information you're asking, you want to know about. Is it personal information? Is it my information that I put in, like my name, my telephone number, my date of birth, my place of birth, that is information. Is he talking about information which I publish on my website? Because once you publish, you make it public and everybody has access to it. So you cannot be talking about security on an issue you have made public, first thing. Secondly, excuse me, Facebook gives
Excuse
you
me, hello, Tawe.
Yes, please.
I'm talking about your personal information when you are creating an account.
Okay, good. If it is your personal information, there is a corporate obligation by Facebook to make your information personal, make it how do you say it, hidden, or to protect your information. So not hidden, to protect your information. But there is an option that tells you, if you want your telephone number made public, click on it and people will see it. If you want your date of birth made public, click on it, or say you want it public, it will display. Now there is nobody, because the idea of socializing, social media, remember the name is social media, it is to give you exposure so that you can attract friends, right? You cannot go to the market and have yams to sell and then you take them and put under the table. You must expose them. Now, but if people are going to abusively use the yams, you must hide them. So that is why on social media, it's a double-edged thing. Social media, the developers tell you in that fine print, which is one of the last things that I talked about in our presentation. If you want to keep safe, then make sure that you filter out the kind of information, you choose the kind of information that has to go out. I see people with their telephone numbers exposed and they tell the world, okay, you can call me whenever you want. People just go, I know people who collect information, collect those telephone numbers and start calling people. But I would not give my telephone number, I would not make it public. So it is just an option, like I said, all the information, the personal information which you put in is secure. Now it is for you to activate or to deactivate the visibility or the non-visibility of that information, especially with things like telephone numbers, email, your names. Of course, your names will go on air because that is the first thing that identifies you. It's your name. But remember that there are people who use fake names. There are people who use names which are not theirs. So somebody may use a wrong name just to be able to get to some other people. Okay, so the name identifies you, so it has to be there. But then things like telephone number, date of birth, place of birth, all of that stuff, you can hide them, and it is an option which you're clearly told in the terms of use. Okay, so I hope that one answers your question, sir. The second question is it a means by government to spy on individuals? Government has no control over social media platforms. What governments have is a possibility of controlling the flow of the use of social media platforms within their country. Maybe this would be a little technical, but I would like to explain that for every internet connection, for everybody who connects to the internet, you have what is called an IP address. That IP address identifies you. It identifies you right down to the quarters where you live, right down to your machine. Now, the IP addresses are connected, but the website, the social media platforms to connect by way of an IP address to the internet that is provided to that country. So there's a possibility of the country for the government to say, from this IP address to that one, I don't want them to be functional in my country. They can be blocked. So government can only block, but it cannot spy on you. For what reasons, by the way? It will depend on your activities. But government can still use it too, because if I'm using the social media platform for dubious reasons, even me, I can spy on you. I can simply come and ask for friendship, and I sit down quietly. Every day I look at your activities. That is spying, right? That is spying. So I can just sit back. I send a friendship request to Lisa, and I sit back and I'm looking at Lisa. I'm not communicating with her, so I'm spying. So that you're spying, it will depend on what you mean by spying. I don't, if you mean spying because of the activities maybe the user is involved in, okay, but spying to me, in fact, it's not a problem. What government can do is that it can block internet access, maybe social media platforms from being accessed in a country. That's all, but it cannot spy, except it is out to spy, then it will spy on you. But if I make my date of birth, my place of birth, and all that information private, government will not see it. But they can follow my activities. Each time I post on social media, they follow and they know exactly what my leanings are. And so if that is spying, fine, then they're spying on me. The third question is, how important are computer games, children and adults? What is a game? A game is some program that a programmer has designed, and it is meant for relaxation. If you don't want to relax, it is nobody's business. It is nobody's business if you don't want to relax. If you want to relax, then you can play. If you go to watch football in the evening, what is the importance of going to watch football in the field? It's for your relaxation. What is the importance of going to play? It is for your relaxation. So games, as the name goes, simply for relaxation. They are important sometimes when you are stressed up and you want to relax, of course. You play a few games, but remember that games can be addictive. Sometimes you get addicted. I know offices where you get into, in fact, a couple of years back, you get into an office, there's Zuma, you play Zuma from morning till evening, no work. So that's one of the things too that would disturb people in offices. You talk to a secretary, the secretary is telling you wait, and you hear pok 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 pok. All of that is Zuma, you know. They are not very important, but for somebody who works hard and has 5 or 10 minutes to relax, you can play a game. You can get up and stretch. You can do whatever you want to do. So that allows you to be able to relax. So that's the importance of computer games. For children, usually I choose the kind of programs like games that I expose or I give children access to. Building blocks 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, and so on, can be a learning process for the children. So these games, like I said, would depend on who is using them and for what purpose. So games would be interesting for children, especially if they have to learn, and for adults for relaxation. Are there antivirus programs for telephones? If so, which of them? You know that this is a tricky one because telephones now operate on 4 or more different operating systems. The first and very popular one is the Android. Android is the green man. That's the logo. It's a green man who stands like that and shaking, you know. It's Android. And if you look for antivirus programs for Android phones, there are lots of them available on the online. So just go to Play Store if you have an Android phone and you type antivirus for of course, if it's on Play Store, then it is for Android. It will be installed and it cleans up your system and it does some work. It clears your viruses and things like that. Secondly, there is the iOS. iOS is the operating system used by Apple telephones, Apple systems. So there are antivirus programs for iOS systems. Again, you just need to go to the Apple store and get your antivirus for the programs. Then we have Windows. Windows applications are executable files which you can if you have a Windows phone, a Windows platform, a Windows tablet, you just need to download the applications that run on those platforms, and then you, of course, the antivirus programs, and then you install. Those that run on Windows would be exactly those that run on your Windows, the Windows on your laptop, on your tablet, and so on. Then you have I think you have let's see, Linux. Linux is still protected, but more and more because it's becoming vulnerable, because people are beginning to lean towards Linux, which is Red Hat. It's having some viruses too. And then the old Java. Java is the old operating system which people used to have on the, what they call choronkos, the old telephone networks, which are coming back, and they are beginning to develop applications too that look like Android applications. So you find somebody with that old style telephone, but which has Facebook, which has WhatsApp. So viruses are also targeting them, and everybody, given developments in the software, the field of software, everybody is trying to protect their system, so that their operating system, so that it can be the best. Remember that I mentioned Android, I mentioned iOS, I mentioned Windows, I mentioned Linux, which is Red Hat, and I've also mentioned Java. There may be other operating systems, but these are the most commonly used, and people, everybody in their own little field is trying to protect their system from being disturbed by viruses. Of course, we know that viruses are malicious codes which creep into the operating system and distort the functioning of that operating system. Are we done, Lisa?
Yeah, thank you very much for answering all those questions, Mr. Taume. And I think Mr. Henry is satisfied with the answers. So the floor is equally open for contributions. If anybody has something to add to what you have just said, then the person can just say it.
Yes, Nelson, I am very happy with all the responses that you've given. They have enriched me. And I have just a little joke for you. I have just spied on you, and I have gotten your telephone number and your email.
I didn't hide it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes.
All right, the floor is open for contributions and equally questions too. Mr. Samuel, I see you. Do you have anything to add?
Well, thank you for the presentation. I don't have much to add except that you have got to be very careful what you post in social media.
Exactly.
That is definitely, that will follow you.
Thank you.
So that's a very important.
Thank you.
All right.
So,
because here,
okay.
maybe where we are here, they use those information when you ask for loan, when you get married, everything. Background check. We call it background check. So everything they see you do on social media, any transaction that you want to do, somebody want to check, make sure. Even if you apply for a job, they have to go there, and they have it. You really don't have to go far to see some of those things. You just Google it, your name, it come up. So if it's something you don't want people to know, don't put it out there. For something that will hurt you, that you think one day you don't put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I I usually tell my friends, I tell anybody around me, if you want to keep it away from me, don't put it online, because I can go all the length. I can go all the way to find out exactly how to get whatever you put online. And I just want to say that Henry, you touched on something that Henry talked about. What is that again? You talked about security. People want to check. They do the fact checking. They go, they look at your profile. You cannot hide. If so, government who uses it to get information about people, you cannot hide. If you want to hide, don't even appear on social media, because once you appear on social media, then everybody sees you. Yeah. So if you were probably to keep your secret, don't bring it on social media. Keep it at home and keep it safe.
All right.
Okay, thank you. I have one more thing, Lisa, please. Nelson, I see that social media rules the world, and those who own social media companies, like you see, like WhatsApp, or you say Meta, so they are billionaires. So how do they make the money from social media? How do they make money from social media?
I think that's a very good question, Henry. When you run Facebook on your, I don't know, on your phone, on your handheld device, on your computer, do you see adverts?
Yes, I do.
You see, and I'll give you some inside information. The people who advertise on social media advertise because of the fact that there are huge numbers of people who are on those social media platforms. I'll give you an example. I'll take a very banal a very, very unusual example. Go to Google. Go to Google, just launch Google and say you're looking for a BMW car. Okay?
Yes.
You type that search string about 3 or 4 times on Google search. Then you come back and run Facebook on the same device. You will see that Facebook will already be pushing adverts about BMW, even on your Facebook platform. That you are wrapped, you are caught up. You are caught up. There is no way you can run away, because the same Google, they have what is called underlying scripts that creep the internet and follow your activity. That is what they call cookies. The cookies have underlying scripts that follow you in the background and look at follow you. They know what your taste is. They know what your tendencies are. They know what you look for. If you go and type, I don't know, even a Toyota car, they start pushing Toyota adverts towards you. It's because they know. So that is, there is no magic in it. They are rich because once they push those adverts, it is the same technology that is pushing, but it is the same technology that is advertising like that. And the owners of the social media platforms are making money because they may be making money by way of pay-per-click, or they be making money by pre-roll. Pay-per-click is each time you click on that advert because you saw it, they get their money. They will be paid because it is considered that you saw it. It may be pre-roll. Sometimes when you want to watch a movie, there is a little advert that plays before the movie. That's pre-roll. So they get their money from that because there is a meter that ticks. If in 1 hour 200 people have visited and it was 10 francs per pre-roll, they have 10 francs times 200. So imagine the multiplier effect when you take the whole world. Whether you watched it or not, it is considered that it played on your machine because it has to play before the content which you wanted to watch plays. So they make their money from adverts like that. They don't make any money from you and I, but they make money from the fact that we are connected and that their advert has played on our platform. So they become rich. You get the point?
Thank you.
There are other methods of making money, but I just decided to take this one. I just decided to take this one because it's easier to understand.
Yeah. Please, one more question. What is the use of junk files and where are they from? Junk files, when you are browsing, some files just come that they say junk files.
All right. Now you're taking us a little out of, but it's technical information. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm very comfortable. In fact, that is even my field. Junk files. Let me tell you something. When you connect to the internet, all what you see on your device is data that has been downloaded from the server onto your local file, onto your local machine. But they don't display as, it doesn't display as the entire website. It has a folder which is called the cache, where that information is kept. So that if next time you come back to that website, it goes to the website, then that's why you have easier access. It just takes what has been updated and adds to the cache and then displays on your machine. So whatever stays in that cache is what is described as junk files. Okay, so the more websites you visit, the more junk you collect on your phone. And people have, there's a possibility, there are applications which can automatically clean your system by the end of the day. So it clears, it flushes all of that. Sometimes it's you can use a manual procedure to clear it. You clear the cache. So you clear the junk. There are applications that do that, they clear the junk and your phone becomes lighter. So each website you visit, everything from that website is everything that you ask for is downloaded onto your local machine, but not kept as a website, but kept in a cache, which displays when you revisit. Now, if you visit over and over, what happens is that it only goes to the website. It takes your cache, compares with what is coming from the website within a split second, and only updates the information that is displayed on your device. So that is where the junk information comes from, and you can easily clear whenever you want.
Thank you very much. I'm satisfied.
So if
you're welcome, you're welcome, sir.
If I can add to what is just said, how they get money. So,
hey, I see my student there, Bubakari. Bubakari, you have a question? Bubakari.
Apparemment, j'ai un problème de son.
Oui, je te suis, Bubakari.
Oui.
He has been muted. It's okay. I think he's having a problem.
Yeah, noisy.
Adding to how these people, Facebook and
Bonsoir. Allô, bonsoir.
Oui, bonsoir, Boubakari.
Ok, permettez de poser cette question. Alors, je vais poser cette question en français puisque je m'exprime mieux en français.
Allez-y, je te connais, allez-y, il n'y a pas de problème.
Voilà, donc je viens de prendre le train en marche et je voudrais savoir donc comment est-ce qu'avec l'état de fake news qu'on a souvent sur les réseaux sociaux, avec des fraudes et autres, tout ça, puisqu'il y a d'autres aujourd'hui qui se servent, n'est-ce pas, des réseaux sociaux pour commettre, c'est pas, des phénomènes, en fait, pour voler, on peut dire ça entre guillemets, parce que j'ai été victime même hier. Quelqu'un a failli, n'est-ce pas, me prendre l'argent, soit disant que c'est une banque de la place. Et dès que je donne, par exemple, 20 000, cette banque, n'est-ce pas, a pour objectif ou alors a pour mission de multiplier cet argent. Voilà deux fois où on est souvent tenté sur les réseaux sociaux. Comment donc lutter contre ces fléaux aujourd'hui?
Merci pour la question. Je pense que c'est l'État qui doit s'en occuper. C'est pour ça que l'État a mis en place une police scientifique. Si vous êtes victime, je ne sais pas si vous me suivez.
Oui, je vous suis.
Ok, bon, allez, coupez votre micro. Oui, je pense que c'est mieux. Oui, c'est l'État qui doit prendre en charge une telle occupation. C'est-à-dire, c'est pour ça, justement pour ça que l'État a mis en place ce qu'on appelle la police scientifique. Si vous êtes victime, allez directement à la police scientifique, ou bien vous pouvez vous rapprocher de l'Antique au Cameroun. L'Antique, c'est la structure qui s'occupe de la sécurité informatique. Ils sont bien outillés pour pouvoir mener une enquête sur l'origine de cet malfaiteur et à quel niveau il se trouve et comment le retrouver. Parce que même la police scientifique travaille avec l'Antique en termes de renseignement. Donc, si vous êtes victime, si vous avez été victime, si on a tenté...
Okay, I would love to continue from where he stopped in answering Aboubakar's question. Comment lutter contre les fake news sur les réseaux sociaux? Bon, déjà, il faut avoir une mentalité. Ça veut dire il ne faut pas chercher à voir ce que tu n'as pas travaillé. Ok, par exemple, quelqu'un vient sur ton inbox et la personne te dit donne-moi 10 000 et ensuite, peut-être après 1-2 heures de temps, tu vas recevoir 20 000 francs CFA. Maintenant, toi, tu procèdes en lui donnant l'argent-ci de 10 000. Qu'est-ce que tu as travaillé pendant cette temps-là pour qu'il te donne cet argent?
Oui, je ne sais pas si vous me permettez, parce qu'en réalité, il passe souvent par des profils bien connus. Quelqu'un vous connaissez très bien et il vous parle des investissements et autres. Bon, vous savez, il y a aussi l'histoire de crypto-monnaie par-ci. Il y a même peut-être le truc comme le long riche, par exemple, où on vous propose des choses comme ça. Et du coup, on est quand même tenté, vu qu'il passe avec des profils bien connus que vous-même vous connaissez très bien. Donc, à ce niveau, je me suis dit que ce n'est pas souvent facile. Et peut-être qu'il faut avoir une méthode bien scientifique. C'est pour ça que je pose cette question.
D'accord. Si c'est déjà, il passe par une entreprise ou bien une banque que vous connaissez déjà très bien. Si je suis dans une banque, je connais déjà on dit en anglais policies. And already know the policies of that bank. Je connais déjà je ne sais pas comment on dit en français, mais je connais déjà comment la banque la fonctionne. Je connais déjà par quel moyen ils peuvent me rejoindre. Ce n'est pas n'importe quand qu'ils m'envoient les messages. Ils m'envoient peut-être un message quand je fais un dépôt dans mon compte ou bien quand je fais le retrait dans mon compte ou bien pour me signaler qu'une transaction a été faite dans mon compte. Donc, vous devez savoir comment votre banque fonctionne. Et déjà, si vous êtes dans un truc comme crypto-monnaie et si c'est là, vous devez savoir avec quelle personne vous traitez. Ce n'est pas que quelqu'un vous écrit une seule fois ou bien 2 fois et vous ne prenez pas la peine de connaître la personne. Il faut prendre la peine de connaître la personne et ce que la personne fait, comme monsieur Tawe disait tout à l'heure, il faut souvent regarder le profil de tous les gens qui t'écrivent et vérifier si vous connaissez, vous avez quelque chose en commun avant de commencer à traiter avec eux, peut-être même avant même d'accepter leur amitié. Comme ça, quand les messages tels que cela vont arriver, si ça vient en forme d'une banque que vous connaissez et ça parle d'une somme d'argent, ils vont te dire que ça va multiplier. Une banque normale ne va pas te dire un truc comme ça. Une banque normale ne va pas te dire un truc comme ça. Que donne 10 000 et dans quelques heures ou dans quelques jours, ça va multiplier en cette somme d'argent. Sauf que c'est un crypto-monnaie et on sait bien que dans le crypto-monnaie-là, il y a déjà beaucoup de fraudes à l'intérieur. Donc, avant même de chercher à investir l'argent dans un crypto-monnaie ou bien avec quelqu'un, il faut chercher à savoir bien comment la personne fonctionne. Sinon, vous allez vous retrouver toujours dans les mains des scammers, comme on les appelle en anglais. Donc, il faut toujours chercher à savoir les personnes avec qui vous causez. And I think Mr. Tawe is back. I was just throwing more light to what I was just trying to answer him in my own words, and I don't know if he was understanding me, but I was doing my best.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I had a little hitch here, so I had to be off for a while. I'm sorry about that. Bon, je n'ai pas suivi ce que Lisa a dit, mais je pense que tout de même, j'ai suivi vers la fin. Ça c'est quand vous avez déjà vous avez toléré jusqu'à arriver à un niveau où vous êtes en train d'échanger. Mais moi, à mon niveau, je ne les laisse jamais arriver à ce niveau-là. Je ne les laisse jamais. Je coupe. Je leur dis, écoutez, si je ne vous connais pas, je ne peux pas avoir des transactions financières avec vous. Si vous insistez, moi, je peux peut-être jouer comme au malin, et je vous traîne jusqu'à arriver à un niveau où je vous amène là où je viens de citer, soit à la police, soit à l'antique. Mais je ne pense pas que je peux tolérer une telle transaction entre quelqu'un que je ne connais pas, une transaction virtuelle. Moi, c'est vraiment, dès le début, je vous mets à l'écart. Donc, essayez de faire comme ça et vous allez bien comprendre.
So, c'est extrêmement important de savoir ne pas traiter avec des personnes que vous ne connaissez pas. Aussi, chez vous, là, c'est un peu plus compliqué. Parce que ici, les entreprises comme ça, on peut regarder qu'ils ont à l'adresse physique. Vous pouvez appeler pour parler à quelqu'un, n'est-ce pas, prendre les informations. Mais faire des transactions monnaie sur Internet, c'est extrêmement risquant. Et comme Lisa a dit, you sow, you reap, you can't reap without sowing. Si vous ne plantez pas, il ne faut pas essayer de récolter.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't get it.
That's right. Yeah, ici c'est vraiment difficile parce que même la police scientifique dont je parlais, ils prennent tout leur temps. Ils savent exactement, quelqu'un t'appelle, il te dit que envoie-moi l'argent à tel niveau. Il y a la police qui pouvait bien arriver là à temps, à l'heure, pour interpeller l'arnaqueur. Mais personne ne fait, c'est-à-dire ils sont là. Bon, allez, ils ne font rien. Donc, c'est pour ça que j'interpelle aussi cette police scientifique, parce qu'ils sont là pour ça. Ils sont là, ils sont formés pour ça. Quand tu arrives, je connais pas mal des cas, des gens qui viennent me voir. Oh, j'ai déposé la plainte à la police, ça prend 6 mois, 1 an. Oh, mais ça traîne. Normalement, ce sont des choses tic-tac et ça marche. Dites à la personne, bon, je t'envoie l'argent à tel endroit, va là-bas, parce que là, ou bien parfois je dis que non, je n'envoie même pas, moi-même, je viens te donner. Vous voyez? Et tu pars avec un policier. Ils ne font pas leur travail. Malheureusement, ils ne font pas leur travail. Oui.
Thank you very much, Mr. Towe. Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel. And I hope Abubakar has heard and he has learned something with people he don't really know very well. And that's all about questions and contributions. And I think we are actually coming to the end of this week's session, and we have some thank you messages from our participants. We have messages from Henry. We have a message from Henry. We equally have a message from Gospel Arena. If you permit me, I would love to read it the way the messages are. Let me see. Okay, so they are actually thanking us for this great opportunity, and they say they have learned a lot from this meeting. Henry actually says this was the best Zoom meeting ever. Okay, we are having these meetings every week, every Friday. You might think this is the best so far, but the best is still yet to come. Thank you very much, Mr. Nelson, Mr. Towe Nelson, for coming.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you.
Wonderful and amazing having you with us today, and I hope you will be here in our subsequent editions. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much for coming. Thank you all so much for participating. Thank you all for contributing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all here next week, same time, same place. And then for now, it will be a bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Alors, monsieur Nestor, on se revoit.
you.